Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and every week we hand the mic to women who are showing up, speaking out, and figuring it out in real time. Because when women start talking, no topic is off limits. Careers, identity shifts, friendships, family dynamics, breakups, big dreams, bigger feelings, and yes, motherhood too. Think of it like calling your best friend on the landline in 1999. Lighthearted, unfiltered, and somehow deeper than you expected. Whether you're raising your kids, raising standards, or raising hell, this space is for you. So settle in. It's time to catch up. Welcome to the Catch Up with Claire. I'm your host, Claire Hoon, and today we are catching up with Kate Rose Now. Kate and I met in college at Loyola, and Kate to me was someone I wanted to be when I grow up, and I cannot tell you how much I love this conversation with her. We've stayed connected through the years, and even when I was starting this podcast back in the fall, was able to pick up the phone. She gave me some really good feedback and guidance in helping get the podcast started. And I have been waiting for the right time to bring her on as a guest. Well, that time has come. She shares all the tips and tricks to being a systems person. And if that feels a little overwhelming for you, like you don't want rigidity in your home life, take a listen. It is anything but. She breaks down routines in ways that are accessible and gives us such digestible tips that anyone can use. Not only did she give us so much information, it was really nice catching up with an old friend. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Kate. Kate, welcome to the Catch Up with Claire.
Thank you so much, Claire. It's so good to see you.
I am so excited about this conversation. Before we even get into it, I picked up the phone August, September, and reached out to you after years and said, Kate, this is very random, but I want to talk to you about an idea. And you could not have been more gracious with your time, with your feedback, giving me direction on getting this podcast started. And since that moment, I always knew, honestly, before I reached out to you, I knew I wanted you to have you on, but I wanted it to be a conversation that felt like the right time and the right place. And given what we're going to talk about, I feel like that time is now. So one, thank you for that conversation 7 months ago. And thank you for saying yes to coming on this morning.
Yeah, I am so happy to be here. I would jump at any chance to get to talk to you under any circumstance. And I think, and I told you this when we talked, your situation specifically of like being a mom of multiples in New York City and sharing that, I think is something that so many people need to hear about. So I was thrilled to hear that you were starting this and to chat with you about it. So I'm so happy to be here.
And I'm even more excited that we're making this happen because it is April Fool's Day and we have had a series of unfortunate cancellations of all bad luck, like nothing scheduling wise, but like flight cancellations, sicknesses, schedule changes. Like it was just, and so then when we identified this day, I'm like, we're just going to go with it. And somehow we made it work.
Yes, I think it's like actually perfect and like so telling of like a stage of life where you're like, there are a million things happening that get in the way of everything else. And it's just a matter of like rolling with what's given to you.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, Kate, we met in college. We were sorority sisters. Way to go, Delta Gamma. And have kept a couple years apart in school, but have kept up as most people do through social media. I've been an observer of all of the work that you've done, for several years now. I remember back when you started Work Well with Kate. I actually remember during the pandemic, I was trying to think of like what was the exact course or workshop you were doing. But I remember we were living with my parents during the pandemic and you did some sort of like starting a business online or like a business process course during the pandemic. And my background was I had my graduate degree in mental health and always thought I would go to start my own private practice. And like living in New York for us was just a temporary situation, I thought. And I was like, when we leave New York, I'm going to go back. I'm going to get licensed. I'm going to start my own little therapy business. And these skills that Kate are teaching, I need to know. And I had pages of notes typed because I was like, this is at least like 3 years down the road, but like I want to absorb all this information. All this to say, you have been doing what you're doing for a really long time now. And it feels like there's a lot taking off in social media space right now with workbooks, with courses, with guides. but I feel like you were kind of an OG girly in this space, which strikes me for a lot of reasons. So I want to get into all of that today, but before we get too far down into the conversation, can you start off introducing us to yourself in your own words?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's so funny that you share that because I have been a business owner for I think 15 years now, which feels so crazy. But I like to say that I've really had like 12 businesses under like one name, really. Like there have been so many pivots and changes, which I think if most business owners are honest with themselves, they've done that. But I am a system strategist by trade, if you will. And that is something that I built through the first company that I built that I then exited. And so I realized that that was really my skill set was setting up the back end to make the rest of the business run seamlessly. And then realized how many women I knew that had these amazing skill sets, but running a business wasn't one of them. And it was preventing them from starting the thing that they knew would be successful or like, just like you, it's like, I know I want to start my own practice one day, but I have the skills to do the actual practitioner work. I'm not the person that's, operating the business and has a ton of skills in that area. So to be able to come alongside creative business owners and women that are starting something that's amazing and are just looking for some support on the back end feels so life giving to me. So I feel like I've been really lucky for the past, oh my gosh, I think like 8 years to be doing that work specifically. And then now I again and feel very blessed that I have like kind of a full roster of clients that I work with month to month. And so once I got to a point where I realized like, oh, I actually can't take on any more clients in my like operations area of my business, I realized like the other conversations I was having over and over with my clients was the operations at home. So like we would, streamline and simplify the business and the business would be running well. And then anytime we would have a check-in, it's like, yeah, the business is running well, but like the meals aren't, or the childcare is crazy, or like there's something with like travel and transportation and medical stuff that all felt overwhelming. And so like running the household became much more stressful than running a business, really. And I think if most women business owners are honest with themselves, they realize like that's still the case. And so I share all of that to share that now on Instagram and on social media, I'm focusing on sharing those resources, mostly because I don't have any spaces for new clients on my like ops side of my business, but also because it's something I'm so passionate about and something that I experienced myself, the need to streamline and simplify my household in my personal life. So that's a lot, but that's everything, I think.
I want to unpack all of it because something I've seen you say, which my therapist actually said to me earlier this year when we were like looking at what are we focused on for the year, was you have been so successful in your career and at work and know how to run and operate a business. You need to treat your household like a business as well. Like you need to be the CEO of your household. Why are you not having family meetings? Why are you and your husband not having these planning conversations? Why are you not checking in? Like, yes, we're having these conversations, but they're ad hoc and they're popping up like, okay, we're planning a family vacation this summer. We need to book flights. Not like, when are we planning flights? Who's responsible? How are we planning, the everything that else needs to be booked around it, planning agendas, all of this. And I was just like, no, this sounds so stuffy and corporate. Like I want to like kind of divorce myself from work. But we started doing it and I'm like, of course it works. Of course it works. Like, put it down on paper, assign a due date, and assign someone to be responsible for it. Take it out of your brain and just start doing it. And we've been doing it since the beginning of this year now. This conversation is pertinent to so many people who will be listening because, one, the moms who need help with the household things, everything you just mentioned, the medical, the childcare, the travel, the meals, plus the women who are in the online space or figuring out their own careers and need to have systems and back end support for that. You've been through it all.
Yeah. I definitely have been through, on both sides of it, a lot of trial and error. I was definitely like uh, client zero in that context of like trying to like help myself do that. And I'm glad you brought up the piece of like wanting to like divorce yourself of like the more corporate or like systems piece, because I think I like on the surface maybe lose a lot of people who think like I'm type B or I don't want a ton of structure or like the amount of structure feels like stuffy and robotic. And so, something that I really emphasize to anyone that's maybe feeling that way is this notion that like structure actually equals freedom. And so like what I mean by that is like if you don't have a time that you're setting to like do laundry, you're kind of in the background constantly thinking about when you need to do laundry.
Mhm.
So it's not like actually this flexible, flowy thing in this way that we think it is, where it's like, oh, it'll just like pop up and I'll find the time. It's like, no, actually, I just have all of these open loops running in the background that don't allow me to ever really close the loop and move on to the next thing. And so if things are feeling heavy and you're nervous about the structure, I was like the structure might actually be the antidote to that, because so many of us have this like unplanned or like go with the flow type household running in the background. And because of that, it defaults to the default parent or the default person running the household and feels much heavier sometimes than it even needs to be.
And chaotic. We started the laundry thing this year too. Like I kind of went full force in January of like, we need structure, we need
Yeah.
routine, we need to put all of this in place because it felt, I think it was really coming down from the holidays that felt so chaotic. But it was like, and like we both work from home. I work from home more than my husband does. He's in 3 days a week. I'm in usually 1, sometimes 2 days a week. But especially being at home, it was like, we'll just pop down and put laundry in. And it's like, I know how easy that sounds, but it's not. Like, we live in an apartment building that does not have washer dryers in unit. So I have to get the laundry baskets, go to the elevator, go to the basement, do the laundry. Like, I usually end up forgetting something despite, like, you need the laundry card, you need money for the laundry card, you need the detergent, you need all the things and then go back upstairs, set a timer, come like it's not this, oh,
Yeah.
let me just pop down to my mudroom or down the hall. Like it's a whole production. And so it always felt like who's gonna do it and when. And kind of like we were doing this dance of like, well, are you going to make time to do it during the day when the kids are at school today? Or are we just going to like not talk about it? And then like the laundry hamper will be overflowing. So you're going to do it because you put the last thing on top and now it won't close. Like, and so finally I was like, Wednesdays and Saturdays, we are a family of 5. Doing laundry once a week does not work for us. Let's split it up and we'll do a small necessities load on Wednesday evenings and make the kids help because they're old enough now. And then
Yeah.
Saturday mornings, all hands on deck. Everybody's doing everything that is dirty. Like, I don't know, I don't care how many machines we have to take up. We're
Yeah.
doing it all. And it just took off exactly, it closed the loop. Like, as
Yeah.
soon as we put the structure in place, waking up on a Friday morning, I have not yet wondered, like, am I gonna try and squeeze running down to the laundry room this morning or during this like all like whatever? Like it hasn't crossed my mind. And
Yeah.
it does. Like I think like you said, giving it structure actually gives you space to have more time and like more time freedom to because you're not thinking about, well, will this be the moment or will that be the moment? It's really nice.
Totally. And even if that doesn't sound like that sounds really sexy to me, like I love the idea of a system. And if you're like, great, so you're not thinking about laundry like whoop de doo, like if that's what someone's like inner dialogue, because I have had folks say that to me, like, okay, but like I don't really care about laundry or like that doesn't feel heavy to me because I maybe don't have 3 kids. Even in that context, the like best example I can give is like, let's say like you're going on vacation and you haven't set a structure for like what's going to happen when you get home or what's going to happen like in like while you're on vacation, like you're laying on the beach actively thinking about all of the other things that we haven't closed the loop on instead of like being present. So even if
Mhm.
it doesn't feel like super sexy to like wake up on a Friday morning and not have to think about laundry, it does to me and I think to most moms it probably does. But if you're not in that boat, like even thinking about you like on the beach thinking like, yeah, I still have to get that done, or what else did I forget, or I should have planned this, or oh my gosh, we're gonna have so much laundry when we get home. Like, if those thoughts are running in the back of your mind, like the vacation is kind of pointless. Like the freedom and flow and flexibility that you think you're accomplishing by not creating structure is actually ruining the potential like best moments or the moments that you could have really like cleared space for because you have the constant running loops in the background.
And I didn't realize how much noise it was creating until we put it in place. Like, I didn't identify that I was thinking about laundry all the time, that I was thinking about meals all the time, that I was thinking about when I was going to complete school forms all the time. It's like another challenge is God forbid a printer ever works. And for school, we always have to print out forms. So I have to plan time to go to UPS
Right.
and print things out and then do it. So it's like, I didn't realize, like, I knew they were things I had to do, and I kept writing down on my to-do list, but until I put a system in place of when we were going to actually do these things, and now I have so much what I feel like it sounds like, I don't know, woo-woo, but, like, I have so much creative energy now to be able to think about things and get into a flow, like a working flow, much quicker because it's not a competing priority of, like, well, I wanna do this thing that's creative and and, like, not technically necessary, but I
Yes.
also have this chore I have to get done. But, like, assigning the chore a time slot makes it be like, "No, this is my time, and I can choose how to use this time now."
That's exactly right. And I think that that freedom, especially for women who have limited time for themselves, like that is such a joy and such a luxury to have.
Okay, we dove so far into it. I wanna back us up to how did this become your passion? And, like, is it a passion or is it just a skill set you're really good at and have always been good at? Like, I kind of picture 10-year-old Kate walking into school on the first day with, like, her color-coded notebooks and, like, her pencil bag all organized. Like, was that you? Or did the systems life come to you out of being always organized? Like, which direction did you come to it from?
Yeah, I think I definitely was never type B, but I joke that I'm kind of like type AB, where it's like things that were important to me or things that were exciting to me were planned and organized, and everything else felt like a total like mess. And so I'm like the opposite of that quote of like the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Like, no, I do some things like and they're super organized and like well done. And then I would be like, also don't like look in my junk drawer because it's like an absolute mess and crazy. And so it was really just the things that I cared about. And I was someone that like needed to understand the benefit of whatever I was doing. So it's like, what is the outcome? Like not color coding for color coding's sake, but like color coding because it's going to make things easier or it's going to make things better. So I think that that's always been low level for me. But I realized pretty early on after I graduated college that there wasn't a skill set or like a passion I had for any particular thing. Like I was in communications at Loyola and enjoyed it. But I realized like when I actually looked at my days, the things I enjoyed most was like the flexibility of my time, the ability to like walk around campus, the ability to like have different conversations about different things. And so, you would go to like 3 or 4 classes a day, talk about totally different topics, get to work on them, but then kind of like get to pick and choose how you organized your day. And if you're starting out in corporate America, like that's kind of the antithesis of that experience. So I think it was really jarring for me because I worked for Delta Gamma for a year after college. And that was like ultimate autonomy. Like they told you what school to go to, but like I would schedule my own meetings. I would like schedule my meals. I could like move things around as I needed to. I could write my reports when I needed to. And the thing that I was passionate about was like designing my time the way I wanted. So it wasn't ever like, oh my gosh, I care so much about press releases or I care so much about like CRMs. It was like, I care so much about getting to design my time in a way that allows me to work on a lot of different topics, work on the things that I'm most excited about at that time, as long as I have systems for everything else. And so after working for Delta Gamma, it's only a year-long commitment. So after that, I did go to like the dream, quote unquote, that I had, which was like this PR firm, like a major PR firm in Dallas that had these huge clients. And like 3 months in, I was like, oh my God, like this like corporate office feels like a coffin to me. Like it felt so like limiting to me in that time. I think it was just like the contrast felt so stark. I think that like I probably would have been fine had I not had such a stark contrast. But from that moment forward, I like really committed to like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to make money while owning my own time and, like adding something valuable to the world. It was kind of like those three things were the things that I was passionate about. So it was by no means linear. It wasn't like, and I started my business and I just like every month made a little more money and then like I left and everything worked out. It was a big roller coaster of like having part-time jobs while I was building things and like having certain clients for things while I was doing other things. I am not someone that is like, I'm just going to quit my job and figure it out. Like, that's too much anxiety for me. And so I always had like something that felt like it would pay my bills running in the background while I was building. And so that's something that I definitely recommend. And then realize like, hey, the thing that I have a skill in that people need that allows me that time freedom, systems building and like helping people with the operational pieces of it. So I get to, in my work, be in so many different businesses, work with wedding planners, work with jewelry designers, work with keynote speakers, wellness coaches, and like see these cool, interesting things, kind of like college. Like I get to learn about all these individual topics, but I don't have to like live my whole life in that one business. And so I think that instead of focusing for me on like this big passion, it was more like, what are the moments of my day that I really enjoy, or the rhythm of my day, week, month that I really want? And how do I design my life for that? And that I have found to be much more rewarding personally.
I mean, that makes so much sense, and, like, as you're talking, I'm just thinking on because and I appreciate what you're saying, like, it wasn't this linear path of, like, I had this idea and it just kept going, and now here we are, of, like, it was a roller coaster ride of, like, I'm sure a lot of challenges, I'm sure a lot of lessons, and even having, I feel like, a steady whatever your steady state is, whether that's a 9 to 5, whether that's, like, a long-term contract, still being able to have time to build and figure out, like, how am I creating more? How am I continuing to iterate on this idea that I have and, like, off in the service that I'm offering? What I'm struck by is your what seems like such a wide network, and was actually something I wanted to talk with you about how you built your network, but what I'm hearing you say is it almost came as it was the commonality that all businesses have, and that is an operation. You can excel at the wedding planning. You can excel at being a jewelry maker. You can excel at being a private practice therapy owner or service-based owner. Everyone, in order to do that, you need invoicing, you need contracts, you need, hours in the day to figure out how to do the back end of getting new customers and clients. And it sounds like to me that's back part is where you geek out about and really find your passion to add value. And all of these different sectors or verticals have a need for this. So that's, I'm assuming now. Is that how you've built up this network around you? Or has it kind of been like a give and take on both ends?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I think that, yes, like it's not that I was passionate about any one type of business. Like one of my long term clients now, and the contract I've been working on for the longest, is like a commercial real estate developer, which, like, I think if you would ask me in second grade, or, even then, like, freshman year of high school, I don't know that I would have really even known what that was. And like now it's like a big part of my day to day. But I think that I was, yeah, more curious about how I could be helpful. Like that was kind of the through line and the thing that made the most sense to me. And so I would constantly kind of be vetting for that and realizing like I didn't have to be an expert in like running a whole business or like interior design or fine stationery or whatever it is. I have to be an expert in like helping them make this simple and easy. And how do I get good at like asking the right questions to do that? And the great thing about offering a service and like really caring and being curious about how to do it well is like the networking. I'm not going to say it happens for you because, of course, there's intention to it. But like when you're genuinely curious about how to help people and like curious about getting better at your craft, I think people can sense that. I think there's like an energy to people who like want to do something well or actually really want to be helpful, and that spreads. And so I think the thing that I felt most lucky, or like kind of my quote unquote unfair advantage, so to speak, was like when I was starting my first business, I was living in Atlanta, and Atlanta had like this huge startup kind of hub at the time. And so I paid like $20 a month at this co-working space just to be able to like get coffee and like put my laptop there. And like the conversations I had at that coffee bar still to this day are like the conversations that are at the root of every other relationship that I have, which like feels crazy to me. But even like I like packed this like or I posted about this packing hack that I did. And like one of the people to message me was like one of the major founders of a startup in that space, like 12 years ago. And it's like, he's still following me on social media. He's like, oh, this is going to be great for my girls. And it's like, even just those little moments of connection are things that are going to like compound and build. So I've always thought about, in the traditional sense, I'm very bad at networking. I'm not someone who like name tag, finger food, shake hands, get business cards. I actually can't do it. I feel like I'm allergic to it just because it doesn't feel great to me. But when someone's like, hey, would love to workshop a problem. Can we like go grab a drink and like chat through like my wedding planning business? Like that is a place that I get so excited. And it's because of genuine curiosity rather than wanting something out of the interaction immediately, I guess.
I'm so glad you said that because I think it's something that's so important, especially like it took me a long time to realize the difference between the two of like because people say network like it's this thing you have to do, like this like abstract, but like also like somehow like it feels abstract, but like you're thinking it's a concrete thing you have to go do exactly as you said. Go shake hands, pass business cards, eat the finger food while you're trying to talk to someone, which is always so awkward and I can never coordinate. Like makes me
Yeah,
sweat thinking about it. And in
totally.
reality, it's these real life human connections that you're not anticipating an outcome out of, but it's a genuine getting to know someone, being genuinely curious about what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're doing it, understanding everything that they're about, and then light bulb. Oh, you just talked about this. How are you doing that? And being able to make these connections very naturally. When I was like looking at my network, I
Yeah.
still even went to, I'm like, well, I don't know all of these people. And I was like, wait, but I know all of these people. And it's like, when it feels natural, it's hard, it feels hard to label as a network, even though that's what a network actually is. It's someone you could pick up the phone and call or be able, not even if that doesn't necessarily have to be that close, but DMing someone, still following someone on social media. Like, I think that is the strongest convert that you can have is, and not to label someone as that, but like, it's because of the relationship and that you have that connection from over a decade ago. Like, they're still interested because you're still adding value and doing interesting things. And I also DM'd you about that packing hack, and my packing cubes or my packing hanger arrives today and we leave tomorrow morning. So I am absolutely going to be stealing it.
Yes, you'll have to take a picture for me, but it is like those little moments. Like it feels silly. Like I think if people were like, "How is part of your like networking strategy like posting about packing for your toddler?" And it's like it's because it's a connective experience. Like so like the client I was talking about in commercial real estate, like he's from New Orleans. He went to Newman High School. And so it's like that's our initial connective tissue. It's like we were both living in Atlanta. I was touring a podcast space, ironically, that he was building. And we found out we're both from New Orleans. And that instant connection was something that, like, I think built more foundation than anything else that we probably talked about that day. And it's like, I can't decide who's from New Orleans and who's not. But like, there are people from New Orleans that I have this connection to. Same thing, like where you went to college, where you lived, like who you went to high school with. Like, all of those things are like little conversation starters or like relationship starters that you can touch back to. And even if it's something at like the guy that I was referring to that messaged me about the packing hack, like he created this like nachos database, like where to find the best nachos. And like it feels like so, yeah, quirky and funny. But it's like anytime I see him post about it, it's like, oh, it's just a reminder that like this person is great and curious and builds cool things. And like I'm constantly having these like little touch points in the background that ultimately end up leading to something eventually, even if it's not an immediate quote unquote conversion or sale. It's like just nurturing those relationships organically has always led to more success for me than like the cold reach out of like, do you need operation services? Like that just never felt aligned for me.
I'm so distracted now because I need this nacho tracker. Cannot tell you how much I love nachos and how hard they are to find in New York City. Like, we don't have there's one place that we have nachos from, and I have like a pregnancy story from them. I was like, I need these nachos so badly.
I love it.
So if his tracker extends to the New York City area, I'm gonna need to get my hands on that.
I'll have to ask because I think it is pretty far reaching, so I'll have to
Okay,
ask.
okay, good. Good things are coming from this conversation.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
Okay, talk to me about how systems has changed or not, or you've doubled down on with motherhood entering the chat, because I feel like that can be such a disruptor of you have your flow, you know what you're doing, how to get yourself ready, all of the things on your mind, but then all of a sudden you become a mom and you're responsible for a whole other human and then sometimes even multiple other humans. Were you prepared for motherhood and the systems and the need, or was it a drinking from the fire hose, figuring out all the things, and then putting the systems in place? How did this happen for you?
Yeah. I thought it was like one of those movies where it's like, thought I had systems and I thought I was super prepared. And then it's like the narrator in the background being like, she was not prepared. Like, I don't think there's any real way. And my mom friends and I talk about this all the time. Like, there's no real way to communicate like what the experience of motherhood is like, fully. Like, I think it is a very hard thing. Like, I had to go on, like, a apology tour, 6 months after I gave birth to, like, everyone who had a baby before me being like, "Oh my god, I just, like, showed up and, like, was like, 'Oh my gosh, how exciting to, like, have a baby. Here's a casserole. Bye.'" And I'm like, "You're, like, in the trenches," and I'm, like, not even registering because so much of the narrative around motherhood is, like, it's this great experience, or it's, like, a very stark difference of, like, PPD, which I also experienced. And so it's like it felt like, oh, you're one or the other. And like if you seem like you're okay, you're probably treading water, but like no one really knows. And so I thought I had set up the systems that were going to be helpful to me. But like you said, it's like you have a total 180, or like your baby is colicky, or like they're a great sleeper, they're not a great sleeper, they are great at feeding, they're not great at feeding. And then it just like shifts the entire system you have. And so I think I really, before I had my son, systems felt like a luxury for me. So, like, I put this system in place so that now I can be on vacation and not have to answer work emails. Like, that felt like a luxury. Whereas, like, now after having Harry, like, it shifted to being a necessity. Like, I have to have
Mm.
systems or else, like, none of this is even going to, like, continue to work. Like, I'm either going to have to, like, quit my business or hire help full time. Like there has to be some give. So like systems were the only thing that allowed for me to truly like do both, to like continue to work in my business the way I wanted to and to have my household run the way that I wanted it to. And I think the thing that was the unlock for me was like the systems aren't as rigid as and predictable as maybe they would be like in my business. Like it feels like they can be pretty structured and rigid. But in my household, I have what like I refer to my husband and I refer to as like rhythms. So it's like this is like generally how we're going to do things. We're going to do laundry on Fridays. We're going to like order out 2 times a week intentionally because it just feels too heavy to cook meals. And like if something happens, if it's like, oh, this event comes up or we all get knocked out with the flu, it's like it's not like the system totally breaks. It's like the rhythm has a little bit more shift in it where it's like we can shift 10 degrees and still feel like we're not like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's like this week we just have something a little different, but next week we'll go back to doing it on Fridays. Or one of my favorite hacks that my admin and I came up with, which is like when we get home from vacation, we outsource laundry. So we send our laundry to a laundry service, but only when we come back from vacation because doing laundry on Fridays feels fine. But like I'm spending the last 2 days of vacation dreading the fact that I'm going to be washing 6 suitcases worth of laundry. It's ruining my vacation. Like, how do I create a system or a rhythm that allows for me to like still enjoy that? So for some people, that's like, like this is an extreme example, but like first class flights to Europe. It's like I'm making this experience enjoyable by removing the piece of it that feels really like dreadful to me, which is maybe like having an 8 hour economy flight or doing laundry for 8 hours. It's like, it doesn't mean like now I always have to outsource my laundry or now I always have to have a service that picks up my laundry every week because maybe that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for me and it doesn't make sense for me, especially in a household where it's like, some weeks we don't have a ton of laundry, some weeks we do. It's like, how can we move and shift 10 degrees when we need to, but ultimately keep a rhythm that allows for like the rule, I say, like, the exception to the rule and the rule allows for the rule to, like, still exist. And I think that has been the game changer in motherhood, is not like, okay, at 10:15 we're doing this, and at like 9:30 we're doing this, and if we didn't do it at that time, like, the system has failed. It's like, no, like, the consistently good is better than the, like, sometimes great, in my opinion.
This feels so digestible, and I appreciate how you're walking us through a couple of examples that have worked for you, because I think what people can take away from this is, especially in motherhood, and I also think especially, I say recovering type A, but I think what you said early on in the episode, I actually fall in line with, and I appreciate how you said it, of like, I've never been type B, but I don't feel like I'm the type A. Like, I'm the type A when I have an interest behind it and when I'm invested in it. But there's other things, like you said, like at the junk drawer, like it's a mess. But I think for people who maybe are thinking of systems as this, like, you have to have this and that and this, and then follow this pattern and this sequence exactly, or it's like, I think a rhythm is such a healthy and accessible way to think about it, because it's like, if you have a flow thinking about mornings or even evening schedules, okay, everyone gets home, everyone has to eat dinner, everyone has to take a bath, everyone has to be in pajamas, everyone has to do their homework. Like, what are the 10 things that have to get done every single night? And what is a flow? Okay, if you don't have time to play every night, that's okay. If, you, like you said, on some nights you decide you order out versus cook at night, like, what are the adds and subtracts that are flexible in it to make the system or the process or the rhythm, whatever word works for feeling comfortable with you. But I also think it's these micro systems, maybe we'll call them, because it, like you said, the laundry and the outsourcing of the laundry, game changer. Like, my parents have a home in Florida, and so that's a lot of our vacation these days, which the luxury of that is, well, one, obviously my parents have a home in Florida. Like, I realized doing laundry on the last day of vacation and throwing it all in the suitcase, that actually makes me feel so much better coming home and not having to do it. Because just like you, I would book flights at like 6 in the morning for our entire family, and everyone would hate each other because we were waking up at 3:30 to get home, then be home by 10 o'clock, exhausted, complete zombies, because we'd been awake for what felt like a day. And then I was like, well, the reason I booked this early flight was to get home, to get our house in order, to clean the house, to do the laundry, to do the chores. And like, my head is pounding because I haven't even taken my glasses off yet. Like, putting these little micro systems in place of like, I'm not going to outsource laundry 2 times a week, but I'm going to outsource it when I come home for a vacation so that vacation feels relaxing. Or like, again, whatever that little thing is for you, whether it's, we're going to order out on Sunday nights so that I don't have to think about cooking. I can use that time to play with the kids or get ready for the week, whatever time luxury you need back. Like, these things that don't have to be heavy lifts or big things, but like little, and it feels like the little investments really add up. And so I appreciate you giving the example of like, here's something we do every week and how our household flows, but also these sort of systems and routines that don't impact everyday life. But when they come into play, this is what makes them work for our family and work for me.
That's exactly.
Something that you said in there too that I want to touch on and I'm curious about is, we talked about a lot systems and, having these mindsets for things that we're very invested in and that work for us, especially in our careers and the businesses that we work in. How has this come into play in external relationships for you, in your marriage, in your partnership, in your family, in your friendships with your son? I have a family of 5 that I don't think cares at all or respects, certainly, the systems that I put in place. And like, we've tried, and I know like there's parenting to it and there's relationship conversations, but I'm curious, has this been something that's naturally fit into your life as you've created a family? Has this been conversations, like direct conversations you've had around, this is really important to me and I need it to be a shared importance? Like, talk to me a little bit navigating Is it boundaries? Is it systems? Is it hard conversations? Like, what does that look like when you need other people to participate in the systems you're creating?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I actually, this is a place where I've borrowed a lot from my business life and put it into my like running my household like a business. This is a big area for that because in a business, like when I would work with teams or when I would be on a team, like I realized something that was so important is for us to have like a shared vision, a shared why, a shared like understanding of why we're doing things. Because I think you only have a team that's invested and like willing to like learn systems that feel like like forceful or feel like too hard to navigate at first when there's like a reason for it, there's a benefit for it. So same thing with us where it's like I'm type A about the things that I care about because I care about them. Like if there wasn't a reason to care about them, I myself wouldn't follow the system because I'm asking in the back of my head why. Like why would I be doing it this way when it's easier to do it this way if I don't understand the benefit? And so in like our business life, anytime I was introducing standard operating procedure or SOPs to a team that felt resistant to it or felt like there was a way they had always done it that isn't this way and that way was already ingrained and easier, I would always start with what are the benefits for them directly and for this larger team if we adopt these SOPs? And if I don't have a reason, then I need to go back to the drawing board and say, like, yeah, then why are we doing this? Like, if there's no benefit to it, like, let's talk about how to create a benefit for it. And so, something we've introduced in our household during we call them like household huddles, just because I like need apparently alliteration and to name everything
I love it.
where like so my husband and I will like book a staycation. It's not a time where it's like the system broke and now right now when tensions are high, we're going to like talk about the right system for it. It's like that is a recipe for disaster as we've learned, same thing in business. And so we'll like schedule a time, whether it's once a month if you can do it, once a quarter, go on a staycation, have like an environment that's conducive to like feeling like you can open up. And then let's say, like, hey, what parts of our household or life are feeling heavy or feeling like more frictionful than they should? Or just like someone in our family is not experiencing it well. So, like, my husband thought forever that I like loved putting away laundry, that it was like my passion in life. Like, really, seriously, until we had this conversation, he was like, I thought you liked putting away laundry. Like, I thought you liked doing laundry. I'm like, who likes doing laundry? But it's like, we had, like you talked about at the beginning of our conversation, like, you have these unspoken flows and kind of these unwritten things where, like, he'll be outside cleaning the cars. And my default thought is like, oh, he likes cleaning the cars. Like, why else would he be doing it? Like, he enjoys it. And he's like, no, the cars need to be cleaned. That's why I'm doing it. And so it's like something like that for him, cleaning the cars. And we would have like a scale, like 1 to 5, like how well do we think this is working in our household right now? And there would be things that he owned, quote unquote, that he's like, that's a 1 out of 5. Like, I hate doing that. It's like the bane of my existence. And then other things that I thought felt really stressful for him, but he was like, no, 5 out of 5. Like, I love putting up the Christmas lights. Like, that's great. Like, I'll do that every year because it feels like I'm getting into the holiday spirit. So, same thing for me. I would be like, laundry feels really heavy, or like both of us feel like it's a 1 out of 5. Like, let's co-create a system that makes us all feel better. Now, this is going to be harder for like my 4-year-old to understand, like, all right, here's the reason why we're like doing like the dishwashing this way. But I think that the more you can communicate it, because I've also realized like kids understand more than we think at a young age. And like they ask a lot of like, why are we doing that? Why are we waking up at 6 a.m., mom, to go on this flight? And it's like, yeah. So, like, what experience do we want to have as a family? Because maybe you're not thinking about laundry, obviously, 4-year-old, but like, how do you want our house to feel? I want it to feel relaxed. I want it to feel stress free. I want it to feel sustainable. Like, the only way it's going to feel that way is if mom also feels good. And so I think Brene Brown talks about how there's like kid focused families, parent focused families, and then family focused families. And I think the only way to be a family focused family where it's like we're prioritizing everyone here and everyone here is going to feel like a valued member or someone that's considered is to have those conversations and say, like, what systems need to be in place? What actions do we need to take? What things need to happen? What do we need to outsource? What do we need to get help on so that we are living by the values we've decided on as a family, or we're living by the vision we have for our household? And for me, sometimes that looks like my son sitting in front of the TV in his underwear eating peanut butter out of the jar. Like, that's like, I literally have a picture of it. And I'm like, this is like part of our family vision right now, because the thing that's going to keep me from being stressed out is like him getting to eat a comfortable meal for him getting to do something so that I can like decompress for the day for 30 minutes when it's a tough day. And then like not adding to the laundry because I know he's going to get peanut butter all over himself. So like, we're just not doing clothes. And like, it looks like chaos, but it's intentionally curated based on the values I have for our family, which is like not creating unnecessary mess, allowing everyone time to decompress, and allowing folks to nourish themselves in a way that feels good to them, which is like for him, that's peanut butter and like there's protein in it and it's fine. It's better than like an Oreo for him. And so that's kind of like the best introduction I've had into those systems, is like really focusing on the like, what's the benefit for our family to like do it this way? And there are times where mom's priorities kind of like trump anything else that needs to happen. So like mom being dysregulated is actually going to make everything else a little harder and a little worse. And so we are going to prioritize mom getting to spin class. We are going to prioritize mom getting to work out. We are going to prioritize this, even if it means maybe we're spending $40 more a day on babysitting. And if that's not a reality, we need to talk to our family. Family has to decide what that's going to look like. And sometimes that means screen time. Sometimes that means something that we feel like maybe doesn't look like, quote unquote, the best choice on paper, but it is the best choice for our family, because I guarantee you an hour of Bluey is better than 30 minutes of mom screaming at everyone because she didn't get a moment to transition from corporate job to managing three little people and running their entire lives.
I so appreciate what you said there too about like the actual financial investment in moms, because this is something I don't know what it is, where I think like I'm just gonna like lose my job, have no money, not have anything to pay. Like we like financially independent have been since leaving college, like, and yet sometimes spending $40 on the spin class feels like, oh well, I could be like putting that towards family vacation, or I could be putting that towards savings, or I could like, and it's just, really has been recently. And there's a lot for me that becoming a mom of three has made me had to really double down on investing in our family isn't just investing in our emotional well-being or investing in taking care of everybody. It's also financial investment. And like our funds have to be dispersed differently as a family of five for us to function. That doesn't mean like the obvious is like, yes, we have to pay more in childcare. Yes, we have like more kid things to actually pay for, but investing in services. I just upped our housekeeper to come 2 times a month instead of once a month, which I was resisting for a long time. I'm like, this is a financial investment that helps my brain feel better. Like one forces us to keep the clutter out of the main living areas at a more frequent cadence than just once a month. And it takes away from like feeling we need to deep clean and spend a lot of time on that. Like investing in, I can't think of another example right now because this is one, but like it's become apparent. Oh, flights for this family vacation I was talking about. Like I've always just gone and booked the least expensive flight because we have 5 tickets to buy. And for this go, which is usually very early in the morning or very late at night. And like I'm always going to pick the early morning one.
Yeah.
And it's chaos. And like we
Yes.
arrive exhausted, we get home exhausted. And so finally I was like, listen, this is $150 more per ticket. So like my math is wrong, but like $700 more all in. That $700, yes, it's a lot, but if it allows us to have a less chaotic morning to getting to the airport, to arrive a little bit more rested, like is there a scenario in which traveling with kids is not chaotic? No. But, like, can it feel a little bit better? Yes, absolutely. And, like, more sleep and, like, time, like, giving ourselves that time back feels like a worthy investment. And so I'm just glad that you pointed out that example of, like, it's not just the systems, but it's also identifying where you wanna spend the dollars to make the systems work as they're supposed to.
Totally. And I'm so glad you said that because I'm such a data person where like my default is always like, let's look at the numbers and like calculate and like this is more expensive than this and let's make this decision. But like something that I like jokingly, but like actually kind of serious say is like, is it cheaper than marriage counseling? Is it cheaper than therapy? And if so, like I'm making that investment because what I'm not taking into account is like what's downstream from me not investing now. So like if I say like, hey, I'm not going to have childcare every Saturday morning to allow myself to have some semblance of a weekend, like that's a choice that financially is better. Like indisputably, like it's better financially for me to not do that long term, if we're thinking about the fact that it's like, yeah, I've decided that I am a person that like doesn't deserve weekends or like doesn't deserve a break. Like it feels crazy to say out loud, but like that is the actual implication is like I am on every weekend and every weekday. And so it's like, okay, if I'm making, let's say you're making $50,000. Let's say it's like an extra $5,000 to get that childcare. These are just like random numbers I'm pulling out of the sky. But it's like, okay, like is 10% of everything that I'm making worth getting weekends back? Like, yeah, like, of course, like, I think it's not even a question to me when I frame it that way. And so I think those are really important conversations to have. And that's why that scale is so important of like, how important is it for us to have slow mornings? How important is it for us to like walk in and not see clutter? Because for me, yeah, if I walk in and I see my house is a wreck and it's like that every day, like, that impacts my nervous system. It impacts how I connect with my husband. It impacts how I connect with my kid. And it's like down the road, am I going to be like, oh no, I really wish I had that $600 back? Like, no, probably not. But I'm gonna be like, I will stay up for 3 hours thinking like, "Oh, I really shouldn't have like, like been short with my husband this morning," or like, "I hate that I like lost it on my kid because he like put one more thing on the floor and it's been a complete mess and we haven't had like 2 weeks to clean up." It's like thinking about those trade-offs and like it really comes back to like, yeah, what are the values of our family and like what kind of person do I want to be and what kind of life do I want to live? And like how can I create that intentionally? So there were even times where I'm like, I'm going to take on 2 extra clients so that I can have grocery delivery and childcare on the weekends and whatever other things. And to me, I'm like equaling out the ledger a little bit of like saying like, okay, I'll take on these extra 2 clients. It's going to be more work, but it's going to allow me to be the type of person I want to be in my home and in my personal life. And that is totally worth it to me. And I've gotten to a place where I feel no guilt about it. And there are definitely people in my life that like are dead set on making me feel guilty about the fact that it's like with one kid, I have quite a bit of childcare. It's probably one of my largest expenses. But my child and I mostly, I would say 80% of the time have happy interactions. And that is in large part to the fact that I get to be a person that I want to be outside of being a mom. And so I can show up being a mom more fully when it's like, no, I get to go get my coffee on my own sometimes. And I get to go to the workout class or I get to go see a friend or I get to go on a bachelorette or on a like, a retreat with my girlfriends. I get to do that so that I can show up and be a better mom because actually thinking that spending all my time and all of my resources on my child is going to make me a better mom actually makes me personally a much worse mom.
We have to get rid of the mom guilt. Like first of all sorry that you're experiencing that in your life. But I am like I get it too. I get it's like the insinuation that we should be doing more or being more present. And it's like, explain to me how that is possible with all of the pressures, all of the responsibilities. We are expected to then enjoy this. And we just had actually this weekend the conversation in our family meeting of, do we need weekend childcare? And we haven't decided that we're going to do it, but we just started the conversation of like, we've been against it for so long, so, like, the weekends are the time for us to enjoy, but if we audit the last quarter of weekends, the amount that we actually enjoy versus the amount where we're both short on patience because we wake up and everyone has a different need and a different activity and a different party, and then we have household responsibilities, and then I'm trying to, like, build a little thing over here, and, like, everyone had like our kids are all very different ages too. And so their wants and like what they are interested in, like going to the playground versus going to a museum versus staying home and coloring versus like the baby. And so we are constantly like micromanaging little situations of like, stop fighting. Okay, let's get outside. Well, I don't want to put my coats. And like
Yeah.
we were just talking about okay, and then we're on edge because we haven't had a minute to do anything for ourselves or the household. And so we were like, do we actually need weekend support? Is it 3 hours on a Saturday or Sunday morning so that we can both go to gym at the same time? We can both like do errands without kids. Like we've tried the whole bring kids to do errands. And I'm like, I just spend 3 times as much because
Mm.
I'm like, "Stop, put it in the cart and stop screaming."
Right. Exactly.
And so it's like it's like identifying the opportunity cost when we're at
Yes.
work. It's like identifying the cost of not investing in the childcare.
Yes.
Me spending, I don't even know how much it would be. Let's just say $200 a weekend on additional childcare so that I can have 2 hours to do all of these things. Like, I would obviously need so much more. I can get nothing done in 2 hours. But the idea is, like,
Yeah.
does that help me feel better? And, like, then so that then when all of that is done and taken care of, I can shut the screens off. I cannot think about
Yeah.
the laundry. I cannot think about the meal prep. I cannot think about I haven't moved my body all week so that I
Yes.
can be present and I can actually enjoy playing with them and closing the loop that we talked about earlier of I want to enjoy playing. I want to go shoot hoops with my 7-year-old. Like I want to play dress up with my daughter. Like I want to be present in these ways and I just can't when I am consumed with other people telling me I should be guilty for having a lot of responsibilities. Like
Yeah.
these things don't exist without support structures in place, and childcare is absolutely paramount to being able to perform on all the responsibilities we have.
That's exactly right. And if anyone's listening to this and they're thinking like, that sounds right, but like, I need to be like, I do that a lot where I'll be like, yes, I agree that we shouldn't experience mom guilt. And then the next day I'm like, I feel so guilty about blah, blah, blah. And like, I feel like I'm the exception to the rule. Like I should be experiencing it, even though I would
Totally.
have anyone else experience it. And something that has helped so much, and it's probably because like I'm a child of a physician who worked a lot whenever I was growing up, and actually proactively when my son was about a year old, I had this conversation with a business partner of mine who's both his parents are physicians, and so they were both out of the house a lot, working a lot, had a ton of childcare. We're kind of like that typical, like when people think like, oh, being raised by someone else, quote unquote, like it was kind of that typical setup. And I remember asking him like, how did you feel about that? Like I'm thinking like, okay, this is my son in the future. Like if both me and my husband are working a lot. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, how did you feel about your mom working? He's like what? Like what didn't even occur to him to like maybe think that she should have been there more. He was like, no, my mom is a badass and she's like doing cool things and like we did cool things together. And like that's the other thing that I had to remind myself of is like my child isn't sitting in the corner with like a stopwatch of like, okay, how much time did mom spend with me today? It's like he would so much rather me have 20 minutes of doing planes over and over again and like being fully there than like spending the whole day with him, but like half being on my phone, half feeling like a little bit like on edge because I didn't get to do the things I needed to do. And because I'm thinking about all these other things I need to do, I'm like making a list on the side. He's trying to play with me. I'm trying to focus on this. And it's like, that is actually not conducive to me having a great relationship with him. Like, I have a great relationship with my dad now. And there were years of my life where like I saw him every third day. And it's like, that feels crazy. Like to me as a mom, I'd be like, oh my God, to like see my child every third day feels like unheard of. And I'm like, and I have like the best memories growing up with him. So it's like, I just want to like put a hole in this like fallacy that we have to spend all our time with our kids. Or like when people are like, I really want to be like a really involved parent. It's like, I want people to be really involved as they want to be. And if you need help, I don't think that's a commentary or like a value judgment on who you are as a person, because there's no world in which in a business we'd be like, you outsourcing anything or not, you not spending every moment in your business is like a failing of you morally speaking.
Thank you for saying that because people need to hear it. We always need the reminder, and it's so true. Like, it is so true. I mean, as you were saying that example, like, we had a nanny full time. My mom was an executive.
Mm.
It's like I never once thought like it just never occurred to me. Like I was like, "Oh, like no, we had someone who picked us up from school and took us to activities and then my mom came home and that's like I don't know." As we wrap up, first of all, thank you for so much of what you're sharing. I feel like I see you talk about a lot of the things that you shared here for years now, like especially this as you were talking about doing the staycation with your husband. Like I remember I don't even know how long ago, but, like, seeing you post about it, and I was like, "What's that about? Like, what do you do?" And, like, this just all feels so digestible and accessible to people in so many different phases, like, whether you're looking for systems to put in place at work in whether you're in corporate or a business owner yourself, whether you're running a household, whether you're looking to make coming home from vacations feel less stressful, like, there's so many areas that we can evaluate to get more time. And as you said at the very beginning, like the point of all of it is time is a luxury and time freedom so that we can choose to be spending our time how we want and what really, interests us and what we're good at and using our skill sets in ways that matter for us. So thank you for all of this. Leave us with something that, what is a system right now that is working really well for you? What is like you are rocking this? This is either a new system, an old faithful. What is something that's working really well for your whole life?
Yeah, there are 2 new systems. They're new as in, like, new probably in the last month that I could not be more excited about, and I realize these are, like, so niche, and probably anyone listening is like, "Yeah, nice for you, like, that probably sounds great," but know that it's after years of a systems person working on it full time for years, I've, like, finally gotten to this place, but we now there's a woman who's in one of my, like, business groups locally here in Raleigh who is a mobile tailor, and so she, like, comes to your house and, like, tailors your clothes. And I can't tell you how many things I have sitting in my closet that I'm like, eventually I'll like bring it to the tailor and like try all of them on in like a new place, get them all stitched, like find a time to go back, pick them up, come home, try them on again, make sure they fit. And so she comes to your house and like literally you pull the stuff from your closet. One, you get to try it on in the comfort of your own home, but then like she literally comes, tailors it, stitches it, and like you try it back and to like see that it fits and then like it's done. Like you don't have to go pick it up anything. So like I don't know why that feels like such a big thing for me, but it really like it's a new system that I'm so excited about because it's kept me from wearing so many things in my closet, which is a value of mine is that like I want to like be intentional with the things that I own and I want the things that I own to serve a purpose and like have a job. And so that is a huge system for me. And then the second one, this is like a true game changer. And I have to credit my best friend, Jess Ekstrom, with this one. Her husband contacted the like nutrition school at NC State and found a woman who's in nutrition there who does meal prep and babysitting at the same time. So like you can hire her and like she brings your kid in on like helping with the meal prep and then she like makes nutritious meals for you while she's babysitting your child. This it feels like a unicorn situation. So I know I'm not, thank you to Jess and Jake for contacting the NC State Nutrition School and finding this unicorn. But yes, she will babysit your kids while she's making meals for you. So she's going to come every Wednesday and like make meals for us and watch my son. So like those two things, I can't tell you how life changing they feel.
That might be a unicorn, but if anyone listening in New York City hears that and is like, I want to start a business, I will hire you so fast to come
Like
babysit
I'll
my
send
kids
the check
and make
now.
meals. Like, you will be booked. So
Yes,
if anyone is
exactly.
like, I want to be an entrepreneur and I have skills, but I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
come to New York
That
City and do that,
do meal
please.
prep in New York City and watch people's kids. Like honestly, it's what
It's getting
everyone
them involved. So amazing. I mean, everything about
genius.
that, like, duh. That is a great concept. Great
So
concept.
smart. So yeah, I'm pumped about that.
Kate, thank you so much for this conversation. It is always such a treat. Thank you so much for everything you put out there. Please tell people, wait, because I mean, like, you put out so much content around everything you just talked about, the packing, unsubscribing from emails, I think I have taken every single one of your hacks and been like, "Oh my god, done." Like, I didn't even know, like, I needed to do this, but I do need to do this until it comes up on my screen, and your carousel posts are phenomenal. So, please tell people where they can follow along because we need the resources.
Yeah, absolutely. I was work well with Kate for a very long time on social, but now I am Kate G Rose now. So KATEG, last name Rose now, ROSENOW. Yeah, that's where you can find me on Instagram. The only reason I changed is because I'm not posting as much like corporate stuff. I'm posting more like home and routines and system stuffs. But yeah, Kate G Rose now on Instagram. And yeah, I'm like really this year, that's an intention I'm setting and a system that I have in place where I'm like, I'm going to share tips regularly to make sure that, yeah, people have the things that have helped me so much.
I love a digestible breakdown. So many people I see have these like fancy hooks that like get your attention, like, "Ooh, I want that." And then they talk through things at enough of a level to keep you interested to think at the end they're going to give
Yeah.
you how to really do it. Or they'll say these like, you do this and then you do that and then you do this. And there's like 4 steps in between each this and that that they don't talk about, and they just want your attention. Anyone listening, that is not Kate. Like, it is step by step. You click here, like, with screenshots. Like, it is so detailed and so just, like, the best thing on the internet right now, so thank you, and
Oh,
genuinely helpful. Like, you posted one, I don't know, sometime this week about how to, like, mass unsubscribe from emails by setting up a filter system. I don't know there's a filter system, but, like,
yeah,
clicking the right things. I spent half a day on maternity leave last summer because I was like, every single morning I go through and the first thing I do is delete 50 emails that I don't even wanna see. Like, why do I do this? So I went through and clicked into each email and each unsubscribe and put the information every time, and now they're somehow back in my inbox.
right,
This is just a, like, I don't need to spend 90 seconds multiple times a day deleting all these things, and no one
right,
does.
right.
So, go to Kate G. Rose now, look at how to unsubscribe en masse, and thank her.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much. Cause that's, yeah, I try and be the content I want to see. And I'm like, just tell me how to do it. Like, I just want like the 2 steps or whatever. So I'm so glad that you appreciate it.
Kate, this has been such a treat. Thank you so much for catching up with us.
Thank you so much, Claire.
We'll talk soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Catch Up with Claire. If you did, I would so appreciate if you subscribe, follow, rate, and comment wherever you're listening from. Share it with someone else you think might enjoy listening. This is how I can continue to have these conversations and bring these conversations to you. Until next time, be kind, be brave, and be safe out there.